everyone, how are you guys doing? This is My Africa Show and I am your host and producer Agabelai. How have you been? I hope you guys are having a wonderful Saturday. So we're back with an amazing guest to have an amazing conversation at the beautiful Capital Hotel and Spa. So today, this week, we'll be having a conversation with both solution groups and ADC, which is Africa Development Conference Secretariat, the one and only, the Pan-Africanist, shall I say, African lover.
Yeah.
All the way from Ghana. Abuja is here to have an amazing conversation. Welcome and thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me and thank you for hosting me in your beautiful city.
How are you feeling?
I love the weather.
Really?
Yes,
Okay.
I love the weather. It's very good. It's not so good in Ghana, but this place is fantastic. So, yeah.
So you told me this is your third time in Addis.
Yes, this is my third time in Addis. By the way, Addis is my favorite city in Africa. So
Really?
I'll come back anytime.
Interesting. So our audience might be wondering, as we are starting this episode, they might be wondering, okay, who's Abuja? What is she interested in? So tell us a little bit about yourself before we dive into ADC.
So I am a Pan-Africanist. I'm a woman's advocate. Because yes, I'm a feminist, proud feminist. But then more than that, I'm an Africanist. I like to see African thrive. I love to see African walk the talk. And I believe so much in Africa. And so I'm amazed by what God has given to Africa. And so I want to be able to put Africa also on the map like any other continent is on there. So yes, I am in Addis, your beautiful country, to further that agenda. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that will lead us to the such an amazing, powerful conference that will be happening, the African Development Conference.
Yeah.
But you know, when we're saying this, our audience might think, oh, okay, there's a lot of conferences that happen in our continent, Africa, and even outside of Africa about Africa.
Yeah.
But what does this one makes it different? What is African Development Conference about? Tell us.
Okay. So thank you very much. The African Development Conference is not just a conference. It goes beyond the talkabilities. You know, yes, I agree. We have a lot of conferences around, but the African Development Conference, it's a different kind of approach to conference. It sets a platform for policymakers to meet the actual doers and the beneficiaries of the policies that they make. So aside the conferencing, we do trade shows and we engage very, you know, practical situations, very underground situations to present to these policymakers to make sure that they understand the beneficiaries of their policies, and if anything it should be going wrong and all of that, they are able to, you know, address it properly. And aside the conference, then we also put together like an award system to be able to honor excellence amongst some of the people in our continent that is doing extraordinarily well, you know, to be able to encourage others to follow their footprints. So yes, the African Development Conference is a full package. It's the conference, it's the talkability, it's the practical, and then it's the honoring. That is what sets us apart as ADC, yeah.
You know what, I was so amazed when I saw that there was an award, because conferences are usually long and, you know, there's this formal structure. But award is really important. I don't think there's enough of that in our continent. We'll come to that, but let's talk about the theme, the major points that we'll be discussing on this year ADC, which is very important, which is about trade, creating that connection through trade, and such alike. So tell us about the theme of this year's ADC.
This year's ADC is building the Africa we want. It's also empowering Africa, encouraging international trade and Pan-African trade amongst member states. So what we do in this year's theme is to bring together different African country representation. We have representation from Kenya, from Zimbabwe, from Ghana, from Sierra Leone, all coming together to discuss the potential that they have between countries, because what we are doing is not to encourage outside the continent trade. When we see that a lot, by doing that, we are going to have a voice on a global market. If we are able to trade amongst each other, it will give us more value, more employment, everything that we are seeking to go out of the continent to look for is actually in abundance here in Africa.
It's so fascinating that people don't have that much awareness when it comes to AFCFTA, something that especially the business people should know well about, the consumers should know well about. And I feel like conferences like ADC will help people be more aware about the possibilities, you know? So this is not the first time this conference happening. It has been happening for how many years?
On a national level, it's been happening for 10 years. But on a regional level, it's been happening for 3 years.
So tell us, what makes this year different?
Every year we do a regional level conference, one regional level conference and one national level conference. This year we are doing 3 regional level, which is a warm-up to our national level. And we are engaging in different African countries. Every year we choose one particular country and we do all our regional runs, and then we do a national run. But this year, we are doing the regional ones in other African countries, and then we are crowning it up in Ghana in December for the national run. And so we are looking at having a lot of other representation in this year's conference. So that is what is unique about 2025 one. And then we are also engaging the locals, as I mentioned. We are engaging the people who do the trade, who do the exhibition. We have an exhibition side where people that are into skincare products, agri and agro-processed products, textiles and clothing. These are the things we are looking out to, put on the market. We can relate to these things. They are ours. And so I feel like we should be able to encourage and put it on the market for people to appreciate it better than, putting it somewhere in the corner and struggling with businesses, whilst we are rather going outside, giving all our expertise to people that are outside of the continent and having to complain about our own continent and how things are not going on well. I'm passionate about these things, forgive me, because it's my passion, to see Africa rise. I come from Ghana. My founding members are Kwame Nkrumah, and you know how Kwame Nkrumah was very passionate about bringing unity into the African region. And so when you listen to pioneers like that and you look at their stories and their vision, you are drawn to follow that vision and make sure that you also contribute your quota to make it happen. What are we seeing now? A lot of policies, no implementations. And so yes, as a private person, I also want to be able to throw my weight and my small voice to the bigger picture, and then maybe, hopefully, someday, somehow, see some results out of all that we are doing. But we are also very grateful because we have some partners that are supporting us to make sure that this thing becomes a reality. And so, yeah, the vision is big. We hope that we don't give up in the process.
No, you cannot be, I'm telling you, because it's a passion-driven kind of thing.
Exactly.
And I think one of the major reasons why we're seeing all this chaos right now in our continent is because majority of people are not driven by their passion with that inner voice that is really rooted to who you are. So even if you decide to stop, I'm sorry, but you cannot.
I cannot.
Exactly.
It keeps me awake at night. I cannot sleep. I have to. That's the thing. It's a passion.
Yeah.
Once it's a passion, you're not able to do any other thing. Even if you veer off, you find yourself
back in.
back in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So every conferences or summits that happen, there are going to be some goals that as an organizer that you'll be expecting. So what do you think is going to be the outcome of this conference? What are you expecting to tackle, or at least put out there, especially when it comes to creating or using trade to unify and to create that beautiful, diverse continent that we truly are? Yeah,
exactly. You said it right on the spot. The #1 agenda of the ADC is to promote intra-Africa trade. And we are excited because we are having some policymakers who can actually, have the voice and the office to make things happen, join us in this conference. And so we are looking at having people from Kenya, from Sierra Leone, from Liberia, speak to people from Ethiopia to explore some options or alternatives that can help in increasing visibility of these countries here in Kenya and here in Ethiopia, and vice versa, because we should be able to bring goods into Ethiopia You should be able to find products from Kenya on Ethiopian shelves. You should be able to find products from Ethiopia in Ghanaian shelves. You know, that is what we are about. And it's very common for us to enter into our retail malls and shopping centers and see zero content in Africa. We only see products from Asia, products
that's what we're looking for. Even as a customer,
as citizens,
yeah.
Yes, because you know we are not enlightened enough to believe in what we are able to do. It's amazing. I went to Sierra Leone, I think a year ago, and the local content agency in Sierra Leone. Hi to you, local content. They partnered me last year.
Okay,
they're doing amazing. They have
really?
A policy that allows for local products to be shelved on all of the big markets. So you enter the mall, they have a dedicated stand for local products. And it is a governmental stipulation. If you are in the mall, you have to shelve it. And you're not allowed to shelve it at the back, you know, put it somewhere.
Just for the sake of the...
No, you are mandated to put it at the front. For people to have also very equal advantage to all the other things that you have shelving. These are some of the things that the ADC platform offers for you to learn from policies like that, to implement in your own, you know, policy certain and making and all of that. And we are proud to host the tourism minister from Sierra Leone in this year's conference. I'm sure she would be sharing very great insights of the things that they are doing that differently from the things that other people are doing, you know, and just learn synergies from each other. Kenya has a similar, you know, approach. Ghana has a similar approach. So I think that these are some of the things that we are looking out to make bear during the conference of ADC. Also, I'm very happy about the award session. Most often than not, we don't appreciate our leaders enough. As Africans, we seem to be very negative, you know. We seem
towards each other.
Towards each other.
Yeah.
But it's good that we celebrate these people. It's good that we encourage these people so that the little impact that they are making would be felt amongst us. And then we can emulate. We can put them as mentors. They can help some of us to know the route to go. They can advise us.
other people.
Exactly. So I'm very excited about the award session in particular. And
I want you to talk about that more because when we talk about awarding and acknowledging and honoring people, it's not only about honoring them, but it's also about the path that they took, the decision, and all the impact they're putting out, and saying, you're seen, you're valued, and we honor what you're doing. So what's the award selection process looks like? People might be thinking, it's corrupted, they favor who they want. No. So tell us, because I know I trust your energy, I trust you.
No, you know, this is not just any award. In fact, we have a number of awards that go out.
Okay.
We don't
tell us what's the the sections. Is there any sections?
Yes, so we have Governor of the Year.
Okay.
We have a Banker of the Year. We have the Bank of the Year. We have the PPP Personality of the Year. So private partners, that's partners with the government to have initiatives and developmental projects. We have Philanthropist of the Year, you know, so it's amazing. And the process is not corrupted at all, because on the board, we have representation from all African countries. We have representation from Kenya, Sierra Leone, Mauritius, Liberia, one representation on the board. And what we do after every conference is to open nominations. So we do not, as event organizers, have any hand in who we receive as a nominee. The public is made to nominate who they think or they feel is making an impact. Once the public brings the nomination, we even keep it anonymous. We are not able to know who nominated who, because we want to cut any form of bias or favoritism in the process. So when nominations come in, we sit with our researchers to cut the numbers, because of course we get a lot of nominations. We do our own background research on the people and the personalities that have come in. We look at their works over the period. We look at their passion. We look at their journey. And then we also look at their influence in their country. What have they been able to accomplish? In what time span were they able to do that? So it doesn't matter, you can be young, you can be old, you can be a private person, you can be a government person. You should be able to match up with this criteria. Once you match up with our criteria, we give you to the board. So the board now comes to tell us that, okay, this person, that person. So we don't even vote. There is no voting, public vote, nothing. It's purely merited by your works and by your constituents or your country. If your country wants to celebrate you, we will celebrate you.
Why not? Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
So, wow, that's just a very clear and honest process.
Clear.
Exactly, and that's what we need to hear.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of responsibilities that lies on your hand right now. I know you have a lot of things on your plate because we were having this conversation off rec, and we were talking on how some simple things that could be done as a group, as a partners, might feel a little bit heavy on one person. So tell us about the challenge that you have faced. And I mean, of course, success without a challenge is a myth, right?
Yeah.
But just tell us about the journey what it looks like 10 years in organizing this
event. It's not been easy. I started off consulting. This has always been my passion. I started off consulting on African boards and African conferences and all of that. I'll just come on as a consultant, and I'll tell you what to do and what not to do. And so it helped me in building the brand before going ahead to actually start the implementation of it. And so I would not say that I've had so much of a great setback, because I don't see setbacks. I only see opportunities. Where you would see a setback and you would see something to discourage you, I rather feel more encouraged. You know, when one door closes on me, I get challenged. It's almost as if you can't close. You just can't do that.
There's always a way.
You know,
yeah.
And so I have a very clear path, and I'm a very religious person. And so before I step out of my room, I ask the Holy Spirit to guide me. And so if you say no to me, it's like, no, okay, the Holy Spirit doesn't want me to use this avenue, I'll use another avenue. So it's been difficult, but not so difficult. You know, sometimes I'm human, so I get heartbroken. For example, when you call on our people, it's sad, but I have to say this, our own African people, to help bring this agenda to light, they seem to not be interested, bluntly. I'm not interested. Meanwhile, if you send this initiative to anybody outside of the African region, they are opened. Their arms are wide open. They now rather chase you to bring the opportunity. You know, so it's a mindset thing for us Africans. We have to be able to walk the talk. We love to talk. We love to. So you said it right, a lot of conferences. What happens is talk. Because when you say we are going to talk, you get a lot of audience. And they'll sit down and they'll talk. But the implementation of it is what the problem is. Because for us as African Development Conference, our main aim is not just to have the talk ability. Is for us to walk the talk. So after the conference, what's next? Exactly. That is why our passion is very high, because when we are done with the conference, it doesn't end for us there. It's just the beginning. And so implementing whatever has been said in the conference becomes very difficult, because you knock on doors that have shared very splendid ideas on the conference podiums and on the conference panels, and you go back to them and say, you know what, this happened during the conference, you said this, okay, so because of that, this person wants to come and invest, what are the ways? And they're like, I'll get back to you. You know, it's very difficult. Let us as Africans be passionate of our own. As Africans, let's all come together and expand the agenda, because it's not a one-man job. We can only do as much, but we urge, and I want to use this, your beautiful platform, to seek that people that are in offices, places of influence, policymakers, people that are change makers should listen to the private sector. Because what is the private sector if nothing is being done by the government sector? And you see, amazingly, the economy of any country thrives more on the private sector and not the government sector. So if you don't pay attention to your private sector, what are you doing?
Exactly.
It makes it very difficult. But as I said, some of us, it's our passion. If they close the doors on us, we would come knocking and pushing it down until they give us the ear. And we believe that we have a few people in there who are also very passionate about, you know, making sure our agendas are materialized. And so we will locate those few people, and we hope those few people locate us as well. And then we'll move, I'm sure. There is a very big light ahead of the tunnel. We hope to get there soon.
And we do see that, and that's what we're hoping for, you know. One friend of mine said, if you should be able to carry your own chair to the table. Sometimes you might not find a space, but you need to scooch in and find your own
Set
space.
your own table.
Exactly.
And invite others to it.
I mean, again, we're talking about corporations, so we need to do that. Speaking of corporation, I want us to talk about the role of diaspora when it comes to investment in Africa. As you've said, I feel like there are a lot of initiatives here in Africa and also outside of Africa in different parts of the world that tries to connect the diaspora, the African diaspora, to their homeland in terms of investment, trade, and stuff like that. What if I asked you, what would you put out to the diaspora out there that is eager to contribute on their behalf to their continent? What would it be?
Well, first of all, I would invite them back home, because Africa is the destination. No matter what you're doing outside of the continent, please come back home. This is a gentle plea. That's on the light side. But then, you know, Africa is rich. So why are we moving out of the continent into the diaspora? Why don't we all come back and make the continent what we hope for it to be? When you come into Africa, it doesn't matter which country you're coming from, you feel so much at home. And even people in the diaspora will tell you that Africa is home. So please, I'm pleading, if you are in the diaspora and you want to venture into Africa, there is always plenty of alternatives for you. Everybody in the diaspora should have a destination, and the destination should be Africa. And once you all rally back and invest back into your roots, you realize that you wouldn't want to go back anymore to any other continent. You feel so much at home. So by all means, we are opening. Come, help us. Let us put the continent to the place we all want it to be, so that there will not be need for, you know, traveling to seek greener pastures. And they say that grass looks greener on the other side. You know, it's always greener on the other side. So join us and let's make grass green on our own side and stay there.
You know what? Speaking of that, I read this quote that says, the grass is greener not on the other side, but where you water it. So it basically doesn't matter, as long as you water it, it's greener.
It's greener, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, oh my goodness, thank you so much. It was such an inspiring, really natural conversation that we had. I really love what you do, and you are doing the best in what you can. And I hope that not only ADC, but all other projects, all other thoughts that you have in mind will come to reality and, you know, inspire and encourage other people. And in fact, I should say this to our audience, we'll be covering the ADC, African Development Conference. Of course, we'll be showing you guys what this conference is going to look like. So we're not going to just talk about it, you know, I just want to let you know. Again, thank you so much for your time.
Yes, thank you very much for having me. And I want to also thank you, Arts TV. You've been amazing. You've been very supportive, and we can't thank you enough. So we hope to see you at the main event. And yeah. Thank you.
All right. So everyone, this is what we had for you guys on our My Africa Coffee Time segment. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation that we had, but overall what we could say is understanding and the mindset that we have is the biggest step that we can take when it comes to creating the environment that we want to live. And at the end of the day, whether we're living in Africa or somewhere else, we're just going to die. So, I mean, let's just try to keep ourselves positive, and as long as we live, let's impact the coming generation in what we can. That's what I would love to say. And next we'll be passing to our spotlight, where I'll be taking you to Skylight Hotel. We will be attending a banking summit and also an award ceremony that will connect different banks from Ethiopia and all across Africa. Let's pass on to that, and I'll see you back.